guys? On today's awesome episode, I'm going to be doing headlights. I got myself a new set of headlights for the F350 here. I was kind of going for a particular look, something that I thought was going to look good, and also something I was going to put out a really nice beam pattern. And here's the new headlight that I got for the truck. I was wanting to go with a particular style, more like this. Just a kind of a modern, aggressive look that it has to it. I like the projector headlights that it has on it. This has a nice light up feature, and it also functions as a blinker. I wanted to go with a one-piece headlight to replace the three-piece headlight that's on these trucks. I think it's going to give it a nice cleaner look while also being able to put out a nice beam pattern. And I was going to opt to go with a nice LED bulb for these. So while I was on my hunt to get this specific headlight, I found one on eBay and I found one on Google while I was searching. With these two listings, there was only one that gave an actual brand name. So the only one I was able to find was the one that said Lux on it. The one on eBay didn't specify, but that's the one I got, and it is calling itself Rex. From looking at it, it's made in China, go figure. I don't really think there's gonna be much of a difference between the Lux brand that I saw on Google and also this eBay one. I'm pretty sure they're gonna be the same people making the same stuff. One just rebranded itself Lux, I'm guessing, and the other just went with its original manufacturer, which is probably Rex. And also why I went with the eBay listing one was because it was like $200 cheaper. The other one wanted like almost 600 bucks, while this one was about 350. Better on the price too, especially if it's going to be coming from the same company. All you're gonna be paying for is the rebranding. Let's get into looking at this a bit more and see what it's all about. So looking on the back side, it's got the spot for the headlight here. I took it out and looked at it, and it's a H7. I'm fairly certain that the one in here is an incandescent. And yeah, it does just come with a single incandescent bulb there. It looks like that one only functions for the top. Sounds loose and clunky. Well, so far I can't really say too much about it being all that great or not. And while these AlphaRex headlights do look amazing, they do, they look so good. There are so many things that I don't really like about these particular headlights. One being that the side marker lights, they all don't illuminate. It's just one, and it's on the lower side, so it's not even in the middle, which would have been nice. And this lower projector light isn't even an actual functioning headlight, it's only a DRL. And not only that, it's at like 3000K, so it's like a piss yellow, while the top one is a single beam function. I don't know what they were thinking when they thought, hey, let's stick a bulb in there that is only a one beam pattern. It doesn't have two, it doesn't have a functioning high beam, which is really crazy. It's crazy. You put in all this work to make this thing look as great as it does, and you flop on a bulb design. And so here's what I mean with the bulb design. They stuffed an H7 in there, and an H7 is a single filament bulb. And here is the stock Ford one that came out of the truck. It's a 9007 dual beam pattern, so it has high and low. It's got 3 prongs on there. The way they tried to make the high beam function work was to reduce the amount of power going to the H7 bulb. Well, in theory, yeah, that does work, but it's not a proper way to make it work. You need 2 filaments. You need 2 functioning ones. And then when you flip your high beam switch on, it gives it full power now. So now it's at 14 volts, and so it's just a little bit brighter, just a little bit. And that's not really, no, that's not the right way to do it. So I found an LED that I thought would fit in there because all the other LEDs are huge. They're like the size of this bulb. They got the big fan on the back, but this one was one of the smallest ones that I could find. So I wanted to pop it in and see how it fit, and then test the high beam, low beam function. Because I mean, if it does look and operate like a normal high beam, then sure, yeah, that's fine. Okay, you know, I'll rock this and not really complain that much. But it doesn't even fit in there. When they made the housing for the projector beam here, they made it only big enough to fit a normal bulb up in this upper space. So when you get an LED that is just slightly larger, it doesn't fit all the way. That's as far as it goes in. It stops right there. It just goes in and that's it. While the regular incandescent fits all the way in there. So not only is the headlight function something that I'm very disappointed in, the side marker light right here, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these beautiful side marker lights, but only one emits light, and it's not even in the middle. It's this lower one down here, not the bottom one, but this lower one here is the one that is on. That's the one that emits light for the side markers. I don't know why any of what they've done thought was a good idea. Besides the looks are great. You did a good job on that. Now, this part of the light, I don't have any complaints about that. This part's awesome. This part is probably the coolest part that this headlight has. It works great. It does what it's supposed to do. It's I don't have any complaints. This is like the blinker section here, this U-shaped thing. You put so much effort into the look side of it, you didn't think about the functionality part of it, which is how you came up with this. So here's our single function bulb hooked up. Watch the magic. Now the H7 does put out pretty good light. That is a pretty bright bulb. So that's low beam. And that's high beam. Not much difference, right? But inside the projector light, it puts out a noticeable difference. Now here's our LED. That has a nice light. That's the color light that I wanted to go for and have projecting out of my headlights. Just a nice modern LED light coming from my headlights. So that's low beam. Let's look at high beam. You can see it kind of alternating there between the two functions. Then I'll show you guys how it looks the best I can once it's inside the headlight. How much brighter the high beam and low beam are in comparison. And there it is with the LED somewhat installed. It's still hanging out the back here, so it's not exactly getting full light in minutes, but let's see if it dual functions. So despite all the flaws that come with these headlights, would I recommend buying them? Would I recommend anyone who is looking to upgrade to these lovely, beautiful things? No. No, I would not. I would not recommend these headlights with all the flaws that I personally have about them. I like my things to work. I like them to work right. I like them to also be easily maintainable. These just don't quite fit it. Now, when it comes down to price on what I would pay for these, if I were to recommend anyone to buy these headlights to me, they look phenomenal. But knowing what I know about these now, what would I pay for them? I would only pay, knowing what I know now, about 250 bucks. That would be the most. The most I would pay for these headlights in particular, just because of how much looks based that they are. They're not based on actually functioning properly, where they don't have a dual filament bulb. They don't have the LEDs all lit up on that side. They don't have two functioning projector beams on the front. One's just a DRL, which I don't care about DRLs. I don't want DRLs. They're stupid. They're dumb. And in their dumb little thing that they tell you about, it's like, oh, it gives them a more modern look. I don't care. I don't want that. I like how they look. They look great, but I don't care for that second bulb that being down there being useless. But with all that being said, they're cool. They look great. And that's kind of all they got going on. That's it. So if AlphaRex sees this and you guys want some input on what the consumer would like to see and like to have, functionality. Make sure functionality is important. You can't just have all looks, because that's what these are. These are just 100% all looks, and that's it. Make them function like a headlight should. Once these things go out and I'm no longer going to be needing them, I'm not going to buy another set. That's it. But for you guys who don't care and you have a show truck, you're trying to go to car shows, you're trying to go to SEMA, these are great. These are fantastic. They look awesome. And that's it. That's all they got going for them. Another thing that I wanted to know about, because if also they had a good warranty for them, like maybe lifetime or 10-year or something crazy, yeah, then I'd probably be more advocating for these. Like, yeah, you know, despite the flaws that they have, warranty will cover it and it'll be great. No, they only have a 2-year warranty, and there's a long list of exclusions on what they warranty with these things. For the amount you pay, I would not do this again. While this is the particular style that I'm looking for, I would not get these specific ones unless they are able to correct all these issues that I've claimed in this video. With all that being said, let's get them in the truck. All right, guys, before you get too excited on putting your headlights in, don't forget to put your bezels on like I did. So you're gonna install them, and then you're gonna put it back into your grill housing. So this is gonna go like this. Pretty please. Okay. Yeah. And then it just slides into place. Just like that. So another thing to note is that this part right here was giving me trouble on the last one. Make sure it fits in snugly like that one. If it doesn't, it's going to give you trouble with the whole thing fitting, and it's just going to be a big pain in the butt. So keep that in mind while you're trying to fit that headlight bezel on there. So I got my screws in, and they kind of flexed a little bit on the way in, but this one here has quite the gap. So I found a piece of plastic that I was going to put in there to take up the rest of that gap so it fits nice and snug. And that's how it looks with the bezel on it. Looks good. The gaps on the side actually don't look too bad. I don't really have much to complain about the fitment. I mean, I guess that's as good as it's going to get for aftermarket there. And here is another problem with fitment. The headlight adjustment screw is not properly aligned, which is awesome. So now I got to take the headlight back out again, hog this hole out so it can be adjusted. Well, I can get my screwdriver in there now, so I guess that's good enough. And here's another thing when it comes to changing the light bulb on this thing. See these little legs right here? Those are a big pain in the ass to get out, even though the headlight isn't even in the truck yet. So imagine what it's like in the truck. That one comes out just fine. Now it's this one that is a pain in the butt. Now look at that. Look how much clearance they give you to try and get that out. You gotta bend the crap out of this thing to try and get it up and over. I made it look easy because I've done it a few times trying to figure out which headlight I want to use besides the LED or a different H7, which I did find a different H7. I'm installing these Silver Star Ultras just because I wanted a brighter white color to somewhat imitate an LED. So just a heads up for you guys who got these headlights or intend to get them, changing the bulb might be a little bit difficult because that leg gets hung up on the housing. In goes our new headlight assembly. It looks pretty good already. Now that looks great. That's the best thing about these headlights is that they look awesome. Now let's turn them on. These things do look great. So remember how we were drilling out the adjustment for the headlights? Now that's another design flaw that these things have. Let me show you. Now, if you look down in this hole right here, you can hardly see it, but right there where it's somewhat of a, yeah, right there. Now that's where the adjustment is, down in there. So if I were to try to get to it, I'd have to drill a hole right there to be able to access that while it's still installed into the truck. So with that adjustment being hard to access, it's going to be even harder to adjust the headlights while it's in the truck. For the H7s that I put in, I'm not too impressed with the color of them. I was hoping for a nice brighter white. So after the 2-year manufacturer warranty's up on that, I'm gonna hog out that hole a little bit and pop in some nice LEDs. Hopefully I don't have any issues before then, but we'll see. And they're sequential. All right guys, and that's the end of my video on these headlights. I hope you enjoyed it and now know what to expect when purchasing these headlights and what you might have to deal with and what sort of complications you can expect when installing these. They do look great. They do look fantastic. They look awesome. That's kind of all they got going for them. Thanks for watching guys. I'll catch you in the next one.